Hello friends, Tom Downey here for NFL Daily to talk a little bit about Super Bowl 53, and to help me out, I'm joined by Brent Korobotic, the head risk manager over at BetDSI. We're going to break down the game and the odds and the prop bets and everything for you, and hey, it's a Super Bowl, right? You got plenty of stuff to bet on in this one. So Brent, thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us again here before the end of the NFL season.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Tom. It's, I'm really, genuinely, I usually look at these games as just like a regular game. I mean, games are games, whether it's a Super Bowl or not. It's just, quote unquote, it's just another game. But this is really an intriguing game for us just because the way these two teams match up and everything, it just, I think anything really could happen, and I'm really looking forward to this game.
All right, so let's talk about the actual line movement that happened here. Opened up as a pick'em and then quickly jumped up all the way as high as Patriots -3. What went on there in that drastic change?
Yeah, we pretty much market wide. Everyone opened up the Rams -1 as a small favorite, and that got bet down like right quick. If you look at the most books like ourselves, we have all season long, we have like the NFC versus AFC line, just the conference versus conference, not knowing what teams are going to be. We offer that all season long, and it was pretty consistent that we had the the Rams, the NFC -1, -1.5, -2. So it was like kind of consistent pattern all season long is the NFC was going to be a small favorite, less than 3-point favorite. And so when we opened the Rams -1, it just kind of felt like the right number and everything. But this move went so quickly. It was hit right away by some sharp money on the Patriots, and it flip-flopped. Basically, just to give you your listeners or viewers an idea, it was about 60 minutes for this line to go from Rams -1 to Patriots -2.5, with just a lightning quick move right away on this one.
Yeah, so that's up there. Very, very curious how that ended up happening. Let's talk about the over-under then and how that's changed. What have you noticed so far from that side of things?
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent. I mean, this number did open a little bit higher at 57.5. Got bet down to where we are right now, around 56.5 or 56. There are some places at 56, so a slight lean towards the line moving towards the under. When I look at my actual bet count, though, like in terms of the actual number of bets I've taken about 60% of my bets towards the over. So about a 60-40 split in terms of the individual number of bets I've taken favoring the over, which is no surprise. I mean, generally speaking, you get public bettors who want to bet the over. Again, it's kind of like betting unders is like you're kind of cheering or rooting for things to not happen in a game. So typically the public will bet over in this game, and again, the Super Bowl is the one game of the NFL season where the public can absolutely dominate a line, the public can move a line, and they can drown out the sharps. There's just so much money bet on this game. So I'm at 56.5. I'm slightly higher than some of the places out there. It wouldn't be surprised me at all if this number did tick up to 57. So that's where we are right now. It's a solid New England -2.5 and a solid 56.5 in here. And really, this number really has been so consistent. I mean, the market has not been really all that much, all that busy, other than -2.5 or -2.5, on the Patriots for almost a week now. Once it found its kind of home, if you will, after that first move of the line opening -1 down, flipping to the 2.5, it was lightning quick, and it's pretty much stayed there since, Tom.
All right, there. So, were you surprised at all by the public money being so heavy in favor of the Patriots, at least to open things up? I mean, I know that the line opened up pretty even. Did that surprise you in the end at all?
Yeah, I was quite surprised. And actually, my bet count a week ago is I had an 85% bet count. That's the individual number of bets I took. 85% favoring the Patriots, with just a massive count. That number this week is down to 78%. So we're starting to see a bit of a trickle downward towards finally getting some Rams money back. Also on the actual money that we've taken a week ago, it was 89% of the bets, or 89% of my dollar volume was on the Patriots. Now that's down to around 84%. Now, I say to 84% with an asterisk because we did take a very substantial wager on the Rams +3. This customer bought the Rams to +3. So taking that one out of the equation, we are down to 84%. If you add that, the big bet, again, it was a 6-figure bet we took on the Rams. So that kind of cuts our liability on the Patriots down quite a bit. But if you take that out, it's still quite one-sided. But it is kind of trickling down. Just a bit of a, draw a bit of a comparison. Last year, the count, in terms of the bet count, this year we're looking, again, right now it's around 78%. Last year was around 54%. It was like a 54-46 split. 2 years ago, when the Falcons were in the Super Bowl, it was around 60-40 split favoring the Patriots then. So this, if this number gets down to 60%, we'll kind of have a bit of a relief because it was so one-sided initially.
Yeah. All right, folks, let us know, for those of you watching, who you got in Super Bowl 53, type R for the Rams and type P for the Patriots. Of course, the Rams +2.5, New England -2.5 in this one. Do you think there's any potential fatigue involved here of it being the Patriots again, or even the inverse there of, oh, well, Patriots are always playing for it, they'll win this year, to help explain why there's been so much action on New England?
Yeah, I think just the thing is, when you look at these two teams, I mean, there's a certain amount of comfort, I guess, if you will, in betting the Patriots, just because they've been there before. You got so much experience, and this really, I mean, talk about the extremes. This isn't a really extreme difference when you look at both the age and experience of Brady versus Goff. When you look at the age and experience of Belichick versus McVay, so I mean, you have to kind of account for that somehow, because yes, it is just one game, but it is really, it's the big stage. Maybe there's going to be some nerves. I mean, we saw Goff last week. He did, he started quite slowly, played, I'm going to say poorly in the first quarter of that game as well. So the Pats' experience on the big stage definitely does have some value, I think. That might be one of the things driving this number. And also, you kind of get the feeling that there's a bit of sentiment now with New England players as they're getting older that, they might want to, quote unquote, win one, a last one. There's all this talk about Brady and his age. Now, he said he's going to be back next year, but every year you talk about, Belichick might be done, Brady might be done, Gronkowski might be done this year. I mean, he's been beat up so bad. I mean, I heard one guy compare Gronkowski to Frankenstein, basically how he's been screwed and taped back together. So there could be a little more sentiment, I think, towards the Patriots, but experience really is a big deal, I believe.
All right, now, do you think the Patriots, at least what you've seen on the bets coming in, has it increased or decreased, the Patriots being in the Super Bowl again in terms of the amount of gambling interest, or has it mostly stayed the same?
It's pretty much been the same. I mean, like I say, it's such a big stage. It's a spectacle. It's a show. All these people who might normally be disciplined and not bet a game, they all bet the Super Bowl. So almost everyone bets the Super Bowl one form or another, whether betting the side, the total, a first half market, a first quarter market, or all the props that you offer. So everyone kind of gets involved in the Super Bowl, whether it was New England or Kansas City. We're kind of fortunate because the four teams we saw, from each conference were really, what I'm going to say, brand name teams and really high scoring teams that the fans really can relate to with New Orleans, with Breeze, of course, and the coaching staff there. You got, Randy Reid with Kansas City and Mahomes there. You got New England, the Rams. So we had, really big, strong brand name teams no matter who was going to be out. And so there was going to be a ton of volume regardless.
All right, we're going to talk prop bets here in just a second, but first, today's show, again, of course, it's brought to you by BetDSI. All these odds are on BetDSI, so go bet over there. Chatsports.com/bet takes you right into the site. Use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. So you put down $50. BetDSI is going to hook you up with an extra $60 for free to bet with. It's the best deal out there. And oh, by the way, if you guys use Bitcoin when you sign up and deposit, that 120% becomes a 150% deposit bonus. You will not find a better deal out there than the one over on BetDSI. But Brent, let's talk about these prop bets. One of my favorite things about Super Bowl betting. What have you noticed in terms of some of the more notable action on those?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some, very one-sided props, and I think they kind of, you get a reflection of the direction they've gone based on where the line has gone as well. Generally speaking, it is a good strategy that you put your prop bets consistent with what you believe the game outcome is going to be. I mean, if you think the Patriots going to win and the game's going to go over, there's really no point in betting Tom Brady's props under and betting Gronkowski under an element under. You kind of stay consistent, and we see that a reflection on in the props as well. I think in terms of value, typically, sharp guys and some people usually find value betting your kind of second or third tier guys, but they don't get a ton of action, of course. Right now, I've seen very one-sided action in terms of quote-unquote public bets with Gronkowski's receiving yards over, Brady's passing yards over, and element over as well. And of course, that kind of ties right into what we've seen in terms of the betting. Now, it's tough with that Gronkowski. Is a real big one for us, and it's interesting with him because I mean, when they played the Chargers, he had one catch on one target, so it's not like he's lighting it up at all. The week after that, I guess the game with Kansas City is he went off for a whole lot of receptions and a whole lot of yards. So it's really kind of rolling the dice and gambling with him. But people who they're betting the over and they're betting the Patriots, of course, they're betting Gronkowski stuff over. So those are some of the more heavily played public type bets. I do have some what I'm going to call sharp action on these as well, going the other way. It's sharps usually find value going under and stuff like that, and they did with Cooks. Cooks receptions under 5.5. That was a sharp play. James White too. Unfortunately, wish we could have opened this number higher. His receptions over 5.5. That was a sharp play, as well as his yardage over 45.5. I think it opened. That's all the way up to like 50 as well. So, and if you look at what the Patriots do, seems no matter what, they really use White quite well out of the backfield, dumping off passes. And again, if you're, the middle of the field is open, he's one of those guys they go to. Brady dumps off to him quite well. And if you look at like the Rams, if they get pressure up the middle, they'll probably be looking at White again. I think it was the game against, I guess it was the Kansas City game or the Chargers game, I think. I remember this vividly because I personally bet White's receptions over, and I bet his yardage over. And again, it was like the first drive of the game. They had like a 7-minute drive, and he had like 45 of the yards on that opening drive to put, and the prop bet was like over 44.5. Like he went over on the first drive. So I kind of wish we had opened a little bit higher on this one. And unfortunately as well, I'm getting sharp and public money on James White going over. So we're heavy towards his receptions over and his yardage over. Again, the public is all over Gronkowski, Brady, Edelman, that stuff over. Sharps are on Anderson, CJ Anderson, the running back for the Rams. They've got him going over 42.5 rushing yards. Goff yards over, so I kind of like that, the over 285.5. And Robert Woods, his receiving yards over 72.5. And one kind of narrative that's been consistent for the last couple of weeks with the Rams has been Todd Gurley, their stud running back. And I mean, he says he's fine, but he seems to be on the sidelines a lot, and kind of the public has gotten wind of that, and they bet his rushing yards under 67.5. So some sharp and public stuff there for you, Tom.
Yeah, and then I think some, just to talk about the end of these sharp picks here, because you kind of went over most of them, just some of the Patriots side of it in terms of the money line and some first quarter action there as well.
Yeah, we did get sharp action. Again, we did take, the Patriots grabbed right away just on the spread itself. Like I said, we took sharp money right away on New England. When we opened the Rams -1, the money line was -120. Comeback was even money. So I took money on the Patriots right away from a sharp player at even money. Now, understanding this customer and the way they bet typically. This is the kind of customer who may not have been in love with the Patriots, but loved the price and knew the number was going to go up. So that customer is the type of customer who would go back the other way and bet the Rams money line, maybe like +125 or something like that. Or perhaps play the Rams, buy a half point, take them to 3, and try and win both sides of that one. So that was a sharp play, but typically from a customer who comes back and bet both sides of the same game and looks for a middle or finds value there. First half under 28.5 was also sharp. That came early, and we're down to 27.5 right now. So I've taken that 28.5 -110. Our current price now is 27.5 at -120. So that number's moved a full point and 10 cents as well. And again, if you look at the way the games have played out for New England, they go these long, slow drives, pile up yardage and time. When they played the Chiefs was a great example of that. I mean, that was 7-0 the first quarter. It took about 7 minutes to score that first touchdown. But the other kind of flip side of that is last year's Super Bowl, I believe New England did score in the first quarter, but prior to that, if you add up the Brady and Belichick first quarters combined for all their Super Bowls, they scored a grand total of 3 points. So they don't score points at all in the first quarter, it seems, and maybe it's like a feeling out process or whatever. So that kind of obviously lends itself towards the first half under. I also took sharp money on the first quarter. That came on New England -120 on the money line there. That number's gone from 120 up to 30 or 35. New England first quarter under 10.5, which kind of goes with the game flow. Under 10.5 -135 was sharp, and that number's down to -145. So trending in the direction of the sharp money there.
All right, folks, so you heard the sharp picks there. Let us know who you've got, the Rams or the Patriots. Type R for Rams, P for the Patriots, and go bet on these games yourselves or this game itself, I should say, over on BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Brent, thank you so much for stopping by all year, and guess I'll have a little bit of a break here with the NFL being over after this game.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on, Tom. It's been a fun season. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it's really intriguing in terms of what these teams do. I think, getting pressure on the quarterback is going to be key for both sides. The spread itself, like I said, I'm sitting at 2.5 right now. I can't see it moving a whole lot. It might tick up, maybe 2.5 minus 115 or go back down to 2. So I think that's worth kind of noting, because most sports books like ourselves are very one-sided in terms of New England money, in terms of where the public's going. So I think if this number drops down at all, it's probably going to be driven by sharps who are looking for the value and finally find it on the Rams. But regardless, I think it's going to be a heck of a game, Tom. Looking forwot to it.
Couldn't agree more, Brett. Thank you so much, my man.